diet. Actually, I am a medical doctor by training, but my interest is in nutrition. And today I would really like us to take a minute to think about the food choices that we make and how those can impact our health. Before I get started, I know some of you do follow me on social media. Some of you have seen the comments that I make, the food recommendations that I make, and you may be wondering why I do so. You may be thinking that they are too radical, or maybe they are so difficult. So I'd like to tell you my story very briefly, and that might help you to put into perspective the message that you hear from me. So I am actually a medical doctor, like I said, and when I went to medical school in 1999, I actually wanted to be a pediatric heart surgeon. I wanted to be a child doctor, help people with heart problems. When I finished medical school in 2004, I actually began to work in a job that required me to sit a lot. And I actually was earning some money, and so I thought that I could afford what I want and could eat what I want. Now, 2 years into my work, I began to experience what I call dis-ease. Not disease, but dis-ease. I struggled waking up in the morning. I was starting to gain weight. I struggled with my asthma and my allergies. But I had two turning points that I would like to share with you. The first is one day we were having a regular check at our office, and I checked my blood pressure. And my blood pressure was 139/89. Now that's almost 140/90, and that's going up. I checked my cholesterol levels, and they were high. Now I found myself sitting behind a desk of a colleague, another doctor, not as a doctor, but as a patient. And what he said to me changed my life. First, he said, if you don't get your cholesterol levels down and your blood pressure levels down, we are going to put you on medication. And then he said something so profound that many of you may have heard before. He says, once you start these medications, you take them for all your life. You don't stop. Here I was, a medical doctor, age 28, being told that I have to swallow blood pressure medications and probably have to do this for the rest of my life. At that moment, it dawned on me what it's like to be a patient. And some of you are going to probably experience this, sitting behind a doctor's desk being told, take blood pressure medications all your life. As a doctor, you're supposed to be the champion of health. But here I was, age 28, thinking about a lifelong journey of medication. And I didn't want this. Fortunately, I mentioned this to my wife's sister, who lives in New Jersey, and she said, there's a crazy doctor here in New Jersey called Joel Fuhrman. He claims he can change anything by changing your diet. He can get rid of all problems with changing of your diet. I read his book, Eat to Live, and indeed, it sounded radical. Anyway, I actually followed the principles. Now, the first thing I did, and I'm going to ask each and every one of you to challenge yourself to do this, is I went on a 7-day journey of eating uncooked plant-based foods. Nothing cooked, only fruits and vegetables. What happened after is why I'm here today. 5 days into my journey, I began to sleep better. I was so intrigued by this small change that I continued the diet. 3 months later, my wife said, honey, you no longer rub your nose every morning. I no longer have to push you at night to readjust you because you're making these sounds with your nose. They've gone. At that point, I was like, wow, that's actually true. So I continued this diet. 1 year later, I was back in front of this doctor, and my blood pressure was now back to normal. It was 100/60. My cholesterol levels were back to normal. My allergies had disappeared. But the thing that struck me most was that for some reason, I realized I was no longer using my inhaler. Now, I was born in a home where I had asthma, and if any of you have asthma, it's a disease where there is oxygen, but you can't breathe. It's actually a very difficult thing to go through. And because of my history of having asthma, I always had an inhaler close to me, in the car, in the office, everywhere. And now, suddenly I realized I don't have an inhaler and I don't need it. My asthma had gone. That was such a profound moment in my life that I realized many of the people who come to the doctors struggle with these same problems. But unfortunately, we are trained in medical school to give medicine for problems that can be managed by changing our diet and our lifestyle. With this excitement of my new life, I decided to leave my job in HIV research and start a journey on wellness to teach people the importance of a healthy diet. Now, one other thing happened on this journey. You see, I was always small all my life. I was always this size. When I finished medical school and I began working, I put on weight. So I moved from 60 kilos to 85 kilos, and I had a small little belly right over here. And people actually said that I looked like a real doctor when I had this belly than I do right now. But you see, medical school, and I'd like you to think about this. We doctors do an amazing job to help people. But when you go to medical school, and many of you want your children to do that, they teach you how to give medicine. You're an expert at giving medicine. So I knew everything about giving medicine, but nothing about health. And when I began to see patients, I realized patients don't need medicine. Now, that's my story. What is your story? What do you see every day in your own home? Today in Uganda, unfortunately, we are seeing a rapid rise in health conditions directly related to our diet. Number one, obesity. Our children are getting bigger and bigger. High blood pressure, diabetes, cancer, heart disease, arthritis, allergies, asthma, dementia. Many of us don't have those problems, but we struggle with our memory, we struggle with our sleep, we struggle with our digestive health. And so this is really what all of us are beginning to see more and more of, either directly or indirectly. And so I'd like to challenge you to ask yourself a question. Why are we seeing this today? What I began to realize is that there are 5 pillars of health, and if we teach these to people, we'll see a rapid change in their health. And at the same time, these pillars are the same things that if we don't deal with, lead us to getting sick. So the first thing is what we eat. The second thing is whether or not we are physically active. The third thing is how much sleep we get. The fourth thing is whether we drink water or not. And the fifth thing is if we manage our stress. Now, I also want to share something important before I get into eating a healthy diet. And this is, many of us are here today. And many of us hear what I have to say. But many of us are still young. Many of us are not yet affected by these conditions. And so you're probably thinking this is for somebody else. But I'm here to tell you that just because you do not have a medical symptom doesn't mean that you're healthy. The second thing is we are seeing these conditions in younger and younger people. The third thing you need to remember is money doesn't make you healthy. We have one body. You've got to take care of it. And not even medical insurance can make you healthy. So I'd like to raise your awareness and say, why don't we think about the choices that we make every day? Now, I want to share one more thing before I dive into what I think are the principles. It's the attitude we have in Uganda that, life is short, I need to enjoy it. When I'm posting things on social media, the responses I get from people are, "Doctor, leave us alone. Life is short. You only live once, isn't it?" And sometimes I was once talking to a group of Christian girls, ladies, and I want to share this because I believe this can be very insightful. One of the ladies I was having lunch with, she chose chips, chicken, fried chips, fried chicken and sausages for her food. And then I said to her, You know, that food can increase your risk for breast cancer. And then she said to me, I cancel that in the name of Jesus. And other people who were there said, Amen. Isn't it? So I'm here, you're thinking, doctor, in the name of Jesus, I won't get diabetes. Isn't it? I'm here to tell you it doesn't work that way. Now, I'm a man of faith as well. But faith is not words. Faith is faith. And I'm going to challenge you. If there is anybody here who has faith to cancel this in the name of Jesus, do a test. Get your phone and go outside right on the tarmac, on the concrete, and throw it up. And when it's at the highest point, I'd like you to say, I cancel gravity in the name of Jesus. And then watch and see. If the phone stays there, then you know you can cancel gravity. If it falls down, it's not bad luck. It's the law of gravity. I would like each and every one of us to know that the next meal you take, the next thing you put in your mouth today is going to have a consequence on your health. And you've got to think about this. Food is not just about enjoyment, it has real consequences in our health. So, if we are going to be healthy, the first thing we want to do is raise our awareness to understand what should I do, what should I not do. And I'm going to share with you 5 principles. Principle number 1, you are what you eat. I'd like you to think about that. You are what you eat. There's a saying that goes like this: 80% of disease passes through our mouth. Now, if we think about that, think about your memory. If you can't remember someone's name, ask yourself, am I feeding my brain right? If I am struggling to climb a flight of stairs, am I feeding myself right? So let's dive into understanding healthy eating. I will start by saying this. I found Innocent talking about, animal foods, plant foods. I do understand that there is a lot of confusion around food. I do understand that many of you are tired of hearing many experts. One day, you come up here, Dr. Kasenene says, eat less meat. You go on social media, another guy says, eat a lot of meat. Another guy says, drink milk, don't drink milk. But I want to share with you principles that you can follow to guide you. They are not rules, they're just meant to guide you. Principle number 1, and the most important, is that 90% of our diet, a minimum of 90% of our diet, not 50%, should come from plants. I'd like us to understand this. Why? Human beings, we are primates. And I always say, instead of diving into deep science, just open your mouth and look at your teeth and compare these teeth with animals that eat meat and animals that eat plants. It is quite obvious that our digestive system, just like primates, the chimpanzees and the gorillas, is designed to eat plants. There's something unique about our digestive system. It is long and it is coiled. And what is the impact of this? Food takes about 40 to 50 hours to pass through our digestive system. Now, animal foods, they tend to putrefy or to rot or to go bad after about 15 hours. Animals that eat primarily animal foods have very short digestive systems. And the food takes 8 to 10 hours to pass through. If you think of a lion, by the time it eats meat, digests it, if there is any residual fermentation or putrefaction, it's out. For human beings, please remember this. Your digestive system has 20 times less acid than carnivores, and so cannot adequately digest animal food. And so what happens is, 15 hours after eating a lot of animal food, this food is sitting in your colon, and the putrefaction will start. And once it starts, it creates a fertile environment to develop cancer. And colorectal cancer is now the second leading cause of deaths in cancers after breast cancer, primarily because of an increase in animal foods. I have friends who are 40 years old who are just struggling with stage 4 colon cancer. This is the reality in Uganda today. And you cannot avoid this simply because you feel that I actually just want to enjoy my animal foods. The second reason why we should eat less animal foods is because, yes, animal foods have protein, and they are bodybuilding foods. But the protein in animal foods not only makes our bodies grow, it makes everything else in our bodies grow faster. If you have cancer cells in your body, animal foods will accelerate that. So animal foods have been shown to increase risk for cancer. They've been shown to increase risk for high blood pressure and heart disease and clots and strokes. But here's my favorite reason. Animal foods make you age faster. Now there's all these people on the internet. Carnivore diet. It makes you healthy, makes you lean, yes, but you won't live long. All the societies in the world, all the populations that they have studied that live a long life, well into their hundreds, and Dan Buettner did a good job in the blue zones, show that not one of these 6 or 7 places do they find a population that eats a lot of animal food. In fact, all of these places eat animal foods probably at most once every 2 weeks. Some people don't eat any animal foods at all. So rather than fighting with the science, let's use experience. In Uganda, our grandparents lived on diets that were high in plant-based foods. And all of us here can confidently boast the fact of seeing our grandparents live long, healthy lives. With the introduction of more animal foods, we can all see firsthand what has changed. So I'm not here to say animal foods are bad for our health. I'm here to say you do not need more than 10% of animal foods in your diet. Now, how do you translate that practically into your life? Number one, think of the number 300. You only need a maximum of 300 grams of animal foods in your diet per week. So what does that mean? If you're eating eggs, an egg is on average 50 grams. So 2 eggs is 100 grams. A drumstick of organic chicken is 100 grams. So now you are 200 grams. A small piece of fish, 50 grams, 100 grams, and that's it. So 2 eggs, 1 drumstick of chicken, 1 piece of fish is all your body needs in a week. Now, if you eat this way, you will be healthy. I also want to say, in my opinion, the easiest way to do this, if you live in Uganda, is just hold off your animal food consumption to the weekend. Monday through Friday, plant-based. Sunday lunchtime, one other day, animal foods. Anything more than this will be detrimental to your health. Now, what type of animal food should you eat? Remember, it should be organic animal foods, what we call local foods in Uganda. Local chicken, local fish, local eggs. This is what you should eat mostly. So you should eat animal foods that are natural. And I was glad to hear Innocent talking about this. I'd like to focus on this point. It's not enough to say, I'm getting 10% of my diet from animal foods. These animal foods have to be healthy foods. Now, in Uganda, we have a big movement towards eating chicken and fish because we have been told white meat is healthier. But with this movement, the commercial interests mean many people are now doing concentrated animal feeding operations, and they are growing or rearing chicken in ways that are so unhealthy. If I confess to you, I don't eat chicken in Uganda because chicken are fed growth hormones and antibiotics and They are kept in cages with little access to sunlight, and they are very, very unhealthy. If you live in Uganda, you will probably know that they give antiretroviral drugs to chicken. Now, why do they do that? Because one of the side effects of ARVs is abnormal fat distribution. It can increase fat accumulation. So when you're eating chicken, it should be an organic local chicken. It's not just about eating chicken or about eating fish, it should be healthy fish. So my recommendation in animal foods are these. Number one, organic or local chicken, organic or local fish, organic eggs. Okay, this is where I prefer you get your sources. And then if you want to have red meat, I recommend only once a week an organic red meat. There are other sources like bone broth, but remember, 10% of your diet. Now, there is a type of animal foods that you should not eat. So I'm going to ask you a question, if you're here. Do you have children? Yes? Okay. Do you love your children? If you answer yes, remember this commandment. Thou shalt not give your children sausages. Sausages are processed meats. Processed meats are animal foods that died many weeks ago, and who wants to eat that anyway? Full of chemicals, nitrosamines, that even the World Health Organization has openly declared cause cancer. They are called carcinogens. It's not an innocent food, it's a terrible food. I'm here with my daughter Paula, please wave. Paula. I'd like to tell a story about Paula. I know I talk too much, but I'd like to share this story. So I taught Paula about sausages, and she won't eat sausages because she's traumatized by the things that they can cause. But one time she went for a birthday party, and she refused to eat, and the parent at the party called me and said, your daughter, I think she's sick. And I said, why? She refused to eat. And so I had to rush over. And when I came, I said, Paula, are you okay? She said, yes, I'm fine. And I said, why aren't you eating? She says, Daddy, they only have chips, fried chicken, and sausages, and soda. And so I just had nothing to eat. And so I told them that I'm sick so that I can get away from eating. I was really proud to see that if you educate your child, she can actually reach a point where she doesn't eat these foods. But I don't encourage you to tell lies. But the point I'm making is they are so harmful. Let me digress a little bit. I don't know if you guys have noticed that in Uganda, the age at which our daughters are starting their first menstrual period has shifted from 15 in my mother's age group to 13, 12, my generation, I'm 45 years, and now it's 9, 10, 11. And many of us think that's innocent. It's not. That's a problem. Because once you start your menstrual cycle, once your voice breaks, you are starting to produce hormones in your body. The abnormal commencement of menstrual cycle can actually increase your risk for fibroids and hormone-sensitive cancers in the future. Now remember this, it takes 10 to 15 years for cancer to develop, sometimes 20 years. So your child won't get cancer right now eating sausages. But when they are 30 years old and they're in my clinic and they're saying, Doctor, I've just been diagnosed with breast cancer, I'm asking myself, where were you 20 years ago? I was in my parents' house. So what you feed your child today can have very severe consequences in the future. So we are not here to say don't eat animal foods. We are here to say at least 90% of your diet should be plant-based. I'm actually here to support those who want to go 100% vegan. Because that's not a bad idea if you understand that there are some things you need from animal foods that you can get in other ways, like vitamin B12, because you would rather eat mostly plant-based foods than be forced to eat unhealthy animal foods. The second thing in animal foods, dairy, milk. Should we drink milk? The simple answer is yes. But what type of milk? Let me answer this question. Do you know that the animals that drink milk are called mammals. Mammalia means of the breast. And mammals have two unique characteristics, all of them, in milk consumption. The first is this: all mammals drink milk in infancy, and then they stop. All of them, except human beings. The second thing is all mammals drink milk from their mother. Now, we human beings do the opposite. Believe it or not, cow's milk is not good food for human beings. Cow's milk logically is food that is good for cows. I know this may sound offensive, but that's the truth. Cow's milk is not similar to human milk. Cow's milk, too much fat, too much protein. Cow's milk is very low in iron. It has no fiber, it has no vitamin C, the things that we need. And everything we get in cow's milk, cows get first from plants. You're about to ask, doctor, where will I get calcium? That they told you is good for your bones and your teeth. And I will ask you, where is this cow getting calcium to give you? It doesn't drink milk. It gets it from the grass. The best sources of calcium are leafy vegetables like spinach, sukuma wiki, nuts, and seeds. And in Uganda, sesame seeds are great for calcium. So we don't need to live here with the idea that we need dairy products to be healthy. You can consume them once in a while, but you don't need them. And especially not cow's milk. Now, cow's milk in particular has a type of protein that is very allergenic. It causes people to have more allergies. If you have asthma or allergies, or you have a child with that, please avoid cow's milk. I recommend you to explore healthy plant-based options of milk, and I do hope we have some here. If we do, please go around. Almond milk, cashew milk, great for your health. So the message is, number one, is 90% of your diet plant-based. The second principle, and the one most don't want to hear, is at least 90% of your diet should be real food. Unprocessed, unrefined, okay, whole food. That means 90% of the time, avoid unhealthy foods. Let me tell you the top 5 foods we should all avoid. Number 1, table sugar. In my opinion, table sugar is the most harmful thing to mankind. Within 30 minutes of taking a teaspoon of sugar in your tea, your immune system struggles. Your blood sugar levels go up. An inflammatory, chaotic reaction happens that leads to storage of fat around your liver. Sugar is the leading cause, indirectly and directly, of obesity, of heart disease, of memory loss, infertility, arthritis, allergies. There is no reason why you should be putting sugar in your tea. And sugar is, if you think sugar is bad, there is a bigger problem: soda. One soda has 8, 9, 10 teaspoons of sugar. Why would you want to do that? So I would like to encourage you, get rid of sugar. Go slowly if you have to, but get rid of sugar. Is honey a better alternative? Look, there's so much to share about nutrition. I have a book over here, it's called Eat Your Way to Wellness. Get a copy. But in summary, it is better only if it is natural honey and if you're active. Because honey does have fructose. If you don't use that, it will be a problem to you. Okay, second thing to avoid, refined grains. Refined grains, quickly let me help you understand what this means. We all know what maize is, right? And we all know what posho is. Maize is healthy, it's a whole grain. You take maize to the maize mill and you make posho, what you're left with is just carbohydrate and sugar. And that's probably even worse for your health than table sugar. So maize is fine, but avoid refined maize. So let's avoid refined maize. Let's avoid cereals, breakfast cereals, cornflakes and the like. And the worst is refined wheat. Please avoid refined wheat. White bread, brown bread, yellow bread, chapati, mandazi, samosas, spaghetti, pasta, pizza, cake, biscuits, donuts, muffins. Very unhealthy foods. Only once in a while. The third thing to avoid, certain oils. Number one oil to avoid, margarine. Please don't eat margarine. Synthetic fat, trans fats, bad for your health. Number two, seed oils. Sunflower oil, sunseed oil, corn oil, palm oil. Especially foods fried with these. Mothers, please don't go buy these oils. They're not very healthy. Healthier oils are olive oil, avocado oil, macadamia oil, ghee, coconut oil. Number four, sausages. Number five, alcohol. The weather is not in our favor, but let's avoid these foods. So what should we eat then? Principle number three, eat an abundance of plant-based foods, and I'm going to share them with you and tell you how to put them on your plate. The number one healthy food are vegetables. We have the leafy type, spinach, dodo, all our local greens. We have cruciferous, broccoli, cabbage, sukuma wiki, cauliflower. We have colorful ones, carrots and beetroots and mushrooms. This should be abundant in our diet. And then fruits. Eat lots of fruits, but eat the fruits whole. Avoid the fruit juice, especially if there is sugar. Why? Fruits are high in fiber and calories. When you make juice, you remove all the fiber and you leave all the calories. It can be bad for your health. Eat more legumes, beans, peas, groundnuts. Eat more nuts, almonds, cashews, pistachios, whatever nuts you can get. Eat more seeds, pumpkin seeds, chia seeds, flax seeds. And for your food, eat more starchy whole vegetables. Matoke is not a bad food, by the way. Sweet potatoes, pumpkin, yams. Eat our local foods. Eat millet and sorghum. This should make our main foods. So how should you structure your plate? On your plate, half the food should be fruits or vegetables. At breakfast, half fruit. At lunch and dinner, half vegetables. The other quarter, healthy protein-rich foods, mainly beans and peas and groundnuts. And the other quarter, your healthy starchy foods. Your sweet potatoes, your matoke, etc. Now, in Uganda, we have another problem. We find that people say, "Doctor, eat healthy food." What do they mean? I eat lots of the stuff I've just mentioned. Lots of matoke, lots of sweet potato, lots of pumpkin, lots of yams. But when you look at their plate, 80% of the food on their plate is carbohydrate-rich food. Even if it's healthier types, it will be a problem to you. So if you're not physically active, reduce the carbohydrate-rich foods on your plate. More of the vegetables. Last few points. What time should you eat? How many meals should you eat? This depends on how active you are and how much energy you need. But I would like to encourage everyone here to learn to develop a principle of having an eating window and a non-eating window, a fasting window. Eat for 12 hours a day, fast for the other 12. Have your last meal by 7 p.m. and then wait till 7 a.m. So, the rain is coming down. I'm going to wrap this up and say, you are what you eat, and the choices you make today will determine how healthy you will be in the future. I would not like you to leave this place feeling like life is going to be miserable. So start with where you can, make some healthy choices, and build on those. And eventually you will find that you're at a place where you can eat much more healthier. So, I would like to encourage everyone here, with the blessing of the rain, dive into all these tents, explore the healthy food options, and see what you can actually learn. I go on? Okay, let me give 1 minute for us to okay, so I would like to ask you, get a copy of my book, and I'm going to share with you very quickly 3 more things that can be very good for your health. Number one, please exercise. Please move. Exercise is one of the most important things that can improve your health. The body needs at least 3 hours of exercise a day. Break this down into cardio for your heart, stretching and strength exercises to build muscle. Please get enough sleep. Sleep is the time that your body uses to heal and to restore. The body needs 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night. It's best to go to bed around 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. and wake up 7 to 8 hours later. Lastly, please drink enough water. Our bodies are about 70% water. We need to stay hydrated. Divide your weight in kilograms by 30. That's the amount of water you need in liters a day. So thank you very much for listening to me. I know I've gone on and on. I really hope we can raise our awareness and understand that the whole purpose of a veg fest like this is to inspire us that there are healthy vegetable options that you can use and adopt in your lifestyle to become healthier. You don't always have to feel like eating healthy foods has to be unpleasant. Take advantage of this situation. So thank you very much. I apologize, the rain has come down, but thank you to the Vegan Society of Uganda and to all the partners. And I really wish you all a happy, and successful Veg Fest. Enjoy the rest of the evening, lots of entertainment coming up. And please follow me on social media. Thank you very much.